I really wanted to show you guys this because I thought it was a really good application for a book light. And so we shot this last week, still working on the edit, and we're actually doing a behind the scenes video for you guys. So I'll have that posted in the membership portal as soon as it's done. You can take a look at it. But basically what we had going on here, it was this office scene, and we needed to emulate basic office lighting. And so what we did, off on this side, we've got a book light. It's actually on the other side of the room, probably, I don't know, what would you say, like 10 feet away from Jack here. And so it's a book light with an ARRI M18 HMI. And so it's just really, really bright light, 1800 watts. It's like a 5,000 watt equivalent light. It's just super, super bright. And that thing is bouncing off of a bounce board through a half grid cloth diffusion frame. It was a 6-foot diffusion frame, and then just kind of crossing the room and creating this really pretty light on his face. You'll notice how soft this light is. It's just really pretty. And what we were trying to do here is like kind of emulate some window light, like there's a window on the other side of the room, so you're getting a little bit of that window light coming in. Additionally, you'll notice like there's not a lot of shadow on this side of his face. That's because he's sitting right next to a wall. And so that light is just bouncing off that wall and coming back on him. But because we're going for that office look, where it's just very flat, even lighting, I think it turned out really well. We really like how that's looking on that side of his face. Additionally to this, over on this side, and actually kind of more in front of him, we've got an ARRI 1K that is pointing up at the ceiling. So here's our ceiling, and it's just basically hitting the ceiling and bouncing back down on him. That's kind of filling in all of these areas and just filling in the rest of the light on his face so that it looks like there is light coming from the fluorescent fixtures up above him. We didn't have the tubes or the resources to like actually replace all of the fluorescent tubes in this office and make them nice lights. So what we did is we just turned all of them off and pointed ARRI lights at the ceiling and just let it bounce off the ceiling, which worked really well. In the background, we've also got another ARRI light hitting this guy in the background that's extra, going through some diffusion. So you'll notice like this is a little bit harsher, but we're getting the same idea. It's not, obviously we have an HMI here in the front. In the back was just like an ARRI 650. So back here you'll notice it's actually a lot darker, and that was done on purpose because we wanted to separate Jack here from separate the foreground from the background. These are my beautiful drawings. I'm gonna get rid of those. So anyway, the background's a little bit darker, just kind of helps Jack pop off the screen here, which we really like. Yeah, and then one other thing, you notice that there's also a window back here in this other little office space, which was also done on purpose, specifically trying to do this because it creates so much depth. And that's something you might think about as you're shooting things, is like, how can you create depth in your scene? We've got this, in this scene, we've got this computer here in the very foreground. We've got Jack in the midground, and then we've got a background here with this other office worker. But then we even have like a even further background looking into this other office. And I love putting doorways behind my scenes, just allowing the viewer to see further into the world. It just creates this depth that looks really cool. So we've got this light here coming through this window. You can't see a lot of what's going on in this composition right here, but some of the other shots you can see it a little bit better. So that's an interesting technique there. Jonah's asking how many lights total for that shot. Let's see. We've got the HMI. We've got the ARRI 1K, and then one in the background. So 3 lights. What's that? Yeah, I think at one point we had another light in the background just to give it a little bit more light. So 3, 4 at most. In fact, we had the one that was pointing at this guy's face in the background, and then we had one actually pointing at the ceiling back there as well. Huh? Yeah. So those are lights we were using. Travis asked what focal length. This is, I believe, 35 millimeters. Which, no, actually, because we were shooting on the Raven, the crop factor, this would have been 50 millimeters. So we did this interesting thing as far as like, because we're shooting on the Red Raven and it has a 1.7x crop factor, because it has a smaller sensor, we rented a Canon 16 to 35 millimeter lens, because that covers 35 millimeters and 50 millimeters, which, like I told you guys before, are my favorite focal lengths. And so it was like, I think the equivalent is like 21 and 29 are the ones you have to use in order to get 35 and 50. So we did most of this video at 35 and 50, and then sometimes like a few random focal lengths that just felt right for whatever reason. So this would have been a 50 right here because it's kind of a medium shot. Mike's asking, was this for a commercial? No, it's actually a music video. It's kind of a comedic narrative music video. There's no performance in it at all. It's just all a story. And you know, it was supposed to be humorous and comedic. I hope it's really funny. We'll see how it turns out when we actually finish it. But it's coming along really well so far. So that's that one.